the bitches. Bow down, podcast listeners. I bow down. You are in the presence of greatness, podcast listeners. You don't even know. You are listening to a world champion, the greatest of them all. He's the best around. Nothing's ever going to get him down. Everybody say hi to Michael. And that's why we pause. And everybody is like in their phone. They're just like, hi, Michael.
I'm now king, apparently.
You are. You're the Burger King of all Street Fighters. Welcome back, everyone, to the Rage Select Podcast. Here, Rage Select Time, Jeff.
And I'm a King Mike, apparently.
Yes. So last week on Sunday, our friends over at the Mexcellence, who you should all be checking out over on Twitch, they ran a local gaming tournament here in Austin, and Michael just kind of like, so okay, let's tell the story here. It was this weird thing where everybody came in and they signed up, and then there was like, it was like a wheel or something. You like spun the wheel of video games. Is that what it was? And so you got like a random game. So like I turned on the Twitch stream because I was at home being lazy. I didn't show up until like the last third of the whole thing. And I watched Brian Salisbury try to play Dragon Ball Fighters versus somebody, and I was just like, yeah, guys, come on.
That was the insane thing, yeah, because me and you talked about it, because Sammy Gonzalez from the Excellence, he's a friend of ours, and he was him and my friend Marcos was like, hey, you should come to this thing. And so me and you were talking about, like, you know, if we go there and we compete in this, it will not end well for everyone else who is there, is what we said. And so originally my idea was I wasn't going to compete. I just wanted to show up and be supportive and maybe do some commentating or something. Mm-hmm. But the second I showed up, Marcos was just like 22, just like stuck a sticker on me. And I was just like, what's happening? And he's like, well, you're number 22. I'm like, okay. Like, I didn't even say I wanted to be in it. Like, he just gave it to me after I walked up to him. Yeah. And so the first match was Call of Duty, I think Modern Warfare or Black Ops. I can't remember which one it was.
It was on Nuketown. I watched you play that. That was the only one where I was like, oh, I don't really know how Michael is at Call of Duty. Like, I know you play FPSs from time to time, but I know that you're not an online multiplayer guy, like, by any stretch of the imagination.
Even when I was a teenager, I was terrible at Call of Duty. Like, it wasn't my thing, because because it's one of those games where, like, you can die so fast.
Yeah.
Like, so I was used to, every time I played it, I was used to, like, stepping out and dying immediately. And so, luckily, the guy I was fighting also was not used to that sort of thing. He was a fighting game guy, as I found out afterwards.
Oh.
Same way I was. And so he was hoping for something like Tekken, is what he was telling me. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, you're playing Call of Duty against this guy. And so I wiped the floor with him at first, and then he started catching up, but only had like one kill left, and so I was able to get him eventually. And so I was like, okay, well, that happened. And then every now and then a contestant would like I guess they left or something, or maybe they like just weren't in the room. Mm-hmm. And so that's how Brian ended up playing Dragon Ball Fighters, because the guy who originally signed up wasn't there. And so he was like, Brian, I want you to play a game. And Brad's like, I don't want to. I just came here to say hi. And they're like, well, you're gonna. And so he played Dragon Ball Fighters against one of the other hosts of the Mexcellence, JT, who's a huge fighting game guy. And he had a, since he was helping host it, he had a buy-in, quote unquote, that he could pick whatever game he wanted, and he picked Dragon Ball Fighters, and they had him fight Brian of all people. I was just like, that's a waste of a buy-in, guy. I'm just saying.
It was funny because Tessa was there as well, and like halfway through the thing. So I was sitting at home, I was like editing the podcast, getting videos together, and everybody's like, you should come down. And I was like, like, no, you should come down. And like halfway through, Tessa messaged me on Facebook with just like, fuck dive kick. And I was like, oh, they made you play dive kick. Yeah, that tracks for somebody who doesn't know what dive kick is, has never played dive kick before. Yeah, of course your first impression is fuck dive kick, especially if you're playing anybody else who knows anything about dive kick and you don't. Like,
I was laughing though because not only did Chief play dive kick, Chris did too.
Oh,
Chris went against Sammy Gonzalez, and somehow, I don't know how, Chris somehow changed the controls to
What, he reversed the dive and kick buttons? There's only 2 buttons.
yeah, that's the thing. He changed the kick button to something else on somehow or something. Somebody did. I don't know. But like he couldn't kick, and so they had to restart it because he didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
All right.
It was ridiculous. But yeah, as it progressed, this is still before Jeff got there.
Yeah, but then you got all the roles, man. You got like all the good, like every game that came up from that point forward, I think was like something you've played before, right?
The good news was that, yeah, that did happen because there were also some sports games and shit mixed in there. There was a racing game, for instance, that I ended up watching 2 people play that clearly did not know how to play racing games because it was excruciating. Ben got fucking rugby on one of his.
That's so strange.
And he won, and he's like, I have no idea how the fuck I won. Like, no one there knew how to play rugby, so no one knew what to do. And so, yeah, I ended up getting
Mortal
Kombat.
Yeah.
And I annihilated the person, and I did a fatality, and I felt somewhat bad about it. After that, I think it was...
was it Smash, right? Or was it Halo?
Smash right after. No, I think Halo was the second to last one I did.
Okay.
I think it was Smash. Because it was supposed to just be Mortal Kombat 11 again, but apparently one of their HDMI cables broke in the middle of it. So they're like, oh, we're going to do Smash Brothers instead. And so I ended up playing Smash Brothers. And again, I annihilated the guy because it had items which made it that much like easier to kill the guy.
Yeah.
Because at one point I got a star and he was like, didn't notice and he kept trying to attack me. And so I just stood there charging my smash attack.
Oh, nice.
It was real bad. I felt so bad from it. Then I felt bad about the Halo one because that dude was not prepared for.
No, he definitely was not.
Like I saw TJ snicker because he realized I was waiting across, or somebody, I don't remember who it was. I saw them laugh because they realized that I was waiting on a corner with a shotgun.
Oh yeah, I saw you do that a few times. You were just way better at that map and Halo in general. And then the grand finale was Nidhogg, which I think was the only one that you weren't super familiar with.
Yeah, because I've owned it for years, but I haven't played it since it came out. Because Nidhogg 2 even came out, and I never even played that.
Yeah,
and so I hadn't played it in a very, very long time, and so I decided, let's see how this plays out. And I got real, real lucky that the other guy wasn't sure what to do, and so and one of the levels was like one of the areas was tall grass, and so he didn't see me like duck, and so that ended up helping me, and I fucking won, and now I have a crown. I'm not wearing the crown. People were probably wondering that. No, the crown's it's on my shelf somewhere.
He's lying. He wears it all the time now. He makes me call him Your Highness. It's really weird, y'all.
It is really weird. But yeah, I have a little trophy with a Mexicans on it, and I have a $100 bill framed because that was the prize for first place was $100. But prior to me winning, everyone was. Because the other 2 prizes involved the Chili gift card. Chili's gift card. And everyone really wanted that Chili's gift card.
Brian Salisbury really wanted the Chili's gift card, and Brian Salisbury's like fervent desire for this Chili's gift card was very overwhelming. I don't know what happened. Like I was like, man, you're really excited about that Chili's gift card. Then Brian was just like, ooh, I'm Jeff. I'm too good for Chili's. And I'm like, I didn't say that. And he's like, oh, I'm Jeff. I don't even say stuff. And I was like, what? What is happening here? I don't understand. Like, is a $15 Chili's gift card really that like high of a currency in our friend group? Because I'll go down tomorrow and buy like, fucking a stack of them and just start giving them to people. If $50 at Chili's is all it takes to buy the loyalty of all of my friends, well,
they all really wanted it.
I could pay that price. Everyone wanted to go to Chili's afterwards. Like,
yeah, that was the thing. Like, Tessa was like, "We're gonna go to Chili's." I'm like, "No, why would I want that?"
Like, they have that like it's $6 for unlimited garbage. Like, you get unlimited soup, salad, and nachos for $6. I'm like, who the fuck wants to go home with a belly full of soup, salad, and nachos? Like, that sounds terrible.
It's Chili's, man. Like that's the thing is what you're getting when you're going to Chili's and Applebee's. When I was younger, those were considered fancy because of where I was. This was a border town, and anything that was name brand was very rare down there.
Yeah.
So like in fact, the funny thing is that the Chili's in Del Rio Fucking Jimmy Buffett apparently went all the time.
What?
Yeah, because apparently Jimmy Buffett would like come down for like fishing or something.
Okay.
Or something like that, and so he ended up just like hanging out at this Chili's all the time. That they set up an area for him called Margaritaville, like within the Chili's.
Good Lord.
It was a whole thing. It was really weird. I never saw him myself, but everyone told me he used to hang out there all the time.
Well, I did not compete. In fact, at one point they were like, they're going to make you. And I was like, they're going to be disappointed because if they put me in here, I mean, like if it's up against somebody, I kind of made up my mind that it's like, I can make a good show of this, but I'm not going to compete in this. This is no good. This is no good for me.
They joked about making you like a final boss, which I was like, I would have been down for that.
I mean, like, okay, I feel like of all the games that you got set up with, I would feel comfortable having a showdown with you and Nidhogg because, like, Nidhogg is more strategy. It doesn't require as much like memorization or button inputs or whatever. Like I think you and I could go toe to toe in Mortal Kombat 11 if I got a little time to like warm up.
No.
But like I'm not coming at you in Smash or Halo, dude. Fuck that. Those are like two of your favorite games. Like
you would have been fucked at Halo.
Come on,
hands down.
Might as well have made my game the fucking Dark Souls PvP if that's what we're doing over here. Yeah,
it was a fun time. I got real lucky on that one.
It was a fun time. And you guys should all go subscribe to their Twitch channel because, you know, it seems like they're doing good stuff. They got some killer merch, man. Go buy some merch.
They got some amazing merch. I was shocked at how many shirts that they had like these commercials on the screen. That I was like, I kind of want that shirt.
Yeah, I really like them. Well, for me, my present was there was a new trailer for that big old Dune movie this week. Michael did not get a chance to watch this, but as somebody whose favorite book is Dune, I am as before cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
Here's the thing, man. I'm not entirely convinced that you can make Dune into a film. Like I am not convinced. Here, let me ask you this, Michael. This will be like a proto podcast question. Is it possible to make every book into a movie? Yes or no?
No, absolutely not. Unless you have ridiculous amounts of budget. Right.
Well, I think that there's a lot of books that take place like inside someone's head, or they have a lot of internal monologue. I mean, I guess it could be feasible, but like, man, this trailer for Dune is so action packed, and like this movie. The Dune is a lot of really long conversations. There's like 4 or 5 times in the book that's got some thrilling action stuff that happens, right? But a lot of this movie is like these really in-depth conversations about stuff. Now it all looks great, and I mean, like, you know, they got Jason Momoa's Duncan Idaho. They got what's his face? Craggleface is Gurney Halleck. Who's that guy? Shit.
I don't know who the character is. I couldn't tell you.
That guy right there. This guy. Josh Brolin is Gurney Halleck.
Thanos himself.
That was Patrick Stewart in the David Lynch Dune, played that character.
Was it really?
Yeah, and he even had more hair than he did before. Timothy Chalamet, I guess, is like this Paul. You got fucking Drax the Destroyer as a character that they cut out of most of the Dune stuff. Baron Rabban, I believe is his
okay.
The Beast Rabban. So yeah, I mean, like, it's got a jam-packed cast full of good people. Special effects look amazing. It's just, the thing is that these days, Michael, I feel like in order for there are like what, there are 5 or 6 OG Dune books, right? They all require like this level of beautiful CGI and sets and costumes and stuff. In order for this to do anything but just be a one-off movie, this is going to have to make a gajillion dollars. And I just don't think there's a world that exists where the average movie-going public that makes Michael Bay a millionaire is going to go watch the movie about the butthole sandworms and the fucking people who pee in their trousers. Like, they're not going to go. It's not going to do Avengers numbers. And I'm pretty sure that this is just going to be one and done. And I'm going to just be waiting for the day when I finally get to see the fucking huge-ass worm with the dude face on top that runs the world in book 4. Like, man, I wish we could get to the crazy part of Dune because that shit gets weird as it goes on.
That's the thing I've heard about Dune is it's a very, very weird series. Like it's like a good example of like a movie that got made based on a series that I always found, I loved, but it was very weird because it has a lot of monologues as well as a lot of just weird shit, which is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Right.
Like that movie, like Douglas Adams helped write that screenplay, but it's still a weird, it's still a movie that resembles very little, honestly, when it comes to the actual books. And if I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happens with with Dune or any other number of book or things based on books. Like, hell, even some of the most faithful things to books always veer somewhere.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Like a good example for that is the Dexter show.
Mm.
The first season of Dexter is very much the first book for a lot of it, except for a lot of the way it ends, as well as some of the other stuff.
Except for the surprise motherfucker part. Is that in the book as well? I don't think it's in the book.
It might be, but it's been a while since I've read the book. That character's in it, but that's a good example of what I mean, because that character dies in the second season.
Yeah.
Whereas that dude's alive in the entirety of all 8 books, because as soon as they're done with the book 1, the show just does whatever the fuck it wants from then on.
Yeah. Or like Game of Thrones season 10. I mean, I don't know. But then the other part of me is you know what? Yeah, fuck you guys. I can just go read the book. I got an imagination, man. I can recast Dune in my head with Jason Momoa and fucking Timothy Chalamet and all these motherfuckers. I can put Drax. I can imagine fucking Drax in my head when I read the book. It's fine. I'll do it myself with my own fucking imagination. Is what I say.
That's the thing. When a movie's bad based on something, they make it sound like they burned every copy of whatever that book was or something.
Right. I can still read The Hobbit, Peter Jackson, and just imagine, a nice children's book that's 150 pages long or however long that book is.
I remember that being a gag for a while when Ghostbusters 2016 came out.
Yeah.
It's we burned every copy of 1984 Ghostbusters and flicked you off. We broke in your house and stole your copies.
Yeah. Well, speaking of breaking in your house and stealing all your good shit, EA had a press conference, everybody. Let's this is I really wish they had just done this. They spent a month building up to this shit. Remember they didn't do E3. They were like, we're not doing E3. We're going to do our own. We're going to have our own fucking conference with blackjack and hookers. It's going to be later. And it was today, as of the day that we're recording this. And
is that Mass Effect or a giant nacho in that picture?
I don't know. I don't know what this is. All I know is that, okay, listen, I got a hot tip for companies. When you put your Twitch stream up on YouTube, I get why you want to start your Twitch stream an hour before the actual content starts. But when you put it on YouTube, could you just fucking cut the 45 minutes that it takes to get to the actual stream, where, the first 20 minutes is just a timer counting down, and then there's the fucking 20-minute pre-show that's talking about a bunch of crap that we already know about. But you know what? This is going to be a real bummer drummer of a thing. So we're going to go through this toot sweet, because there's a lot more stuff to do, and there's only two things. There's only 2.5 things worth talking about in this, maybe 3. Okay, maybe it's all of them. Maybe it's the best one. It's not. That was a joke. So, all right, Michael, I didn't know this. Did you know that Electronic Arts bought Codemasters?
I did not, actually.
I didn't either, and then I went and looked it up, and in February of this year, EA bought Codemasters, and Codemasters is Project Cars, Dirt, and Grid, and then one other. They're big UK-based car game guys. So their first thing was this game called Grid Legends, and this is really, really weird because it's it's a racing game, but it's got a story mode. And the story mode, because I know you probably didn't get a chance to watch all this nonsense. The story mode is literally like full motion video of actual people that are you're out of control, McGillicuddy. I'm the best there. I've been through 6 championships, and tomorrow I'll make 7. And your whole ass is writing body checks. And then there's a part where the dude is somebody's gonna get killed out there, Iceman. Maybe it'll be you. And then the guy lunges at the other guy, and I'm what the fuck am I looking at? This isn't what we do for driving games.
I'm kind of glad that's the thing again, because wasn't one of the Need for Speeds, or some of the Need for Speeds for a bit was doing that, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's I feel like Forza Horizon likes to do that where the guy comes up and he's like, "Hey there, racer, welcome to Horizon. All right, let's get the cameras over here. Beers are on ice. Let's do a little racing." And you're just like, guys, I don't need all the fluff. You just put me in the car and I'll do my own thing. But yeah, this is the next Grid game, and it's like a combination of what looks like a really cool looking racing game mixed with these weird full motion video sequence, not even CGI, not like just like straight up movies of the guys like
was that the part where the guy just attacked
yeah. And then like people jumping up and cheering, and it's like okay. But
I'm cool with this. That's like, it's gonna make for great Let's Plays.
Yeah, I no, man. Thomas Forza's got to come into the Grid universe now. He's got to fight SSS Gridman in the Grid Legends.
I'm thinking of the Batman. I was trying to think of a Batman v Superman title for that.
Yeah,
but I just lost. Like, I just started laughing immediately thinking about it.
They have this weird.
It would be Dawn of Justice though if we did it though.
There's this weird like filming process where they're filming them in front of like, it's not green screen. It's technically like a digitally projected background that then like has this weird, I don't know if you can see that in this shot, when they like move the camera, it moves like a focal point in the background, like around where the person is. It's really strange, but yeah, apparently they're doing all this stuff. So yeah, there's gonna be a racing game. It's a Grid Legends. And I think that's coming out about 2022. Yeah. From there, this is gonna go so fast. Apex Legends has a new guy. He looks like a Shadow Man, or like a, I don't know what he looks like. He looks like a, he looks like
Kung Lao.
He does. He looks like Kung Lao and Shadow Man had a baby in the Apex universe. He's apparently a new tracker guy. I'm not going to go over this. Nobody wants to. I mean, like, are you secretly a big Apex Legends guy and I don't know about it, Michael? I don't think so.
No. I played it for that first month it came out. We're like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then we forgot.
Yeah. So, yeah, they had a really nice trailer. You can always go watch the trailer. It's great. There's going to be some new stuff added in. Apparently, there's like just a straight up deathmatch arena that they added to Apex at some point. They're going to be adding more maps for that. This new character. I mean, it's just kind of battle royale shit, right? Like new characters, some new maps, a few new blah 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 blah. Coming in August 3rd. We got one of the only times that EA manages to do anything good is when they get somebody else to do it. See, It Takes Two or Sea of Solitude. And so the next thing on the list was Lost in Random, which is that CG, or it's that like an adventure game with the big dice that walks around, and you like roll the dice and it all looks like a Tim Burton thing.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
I just assumed it was out for some reason.
Nope. If it was out, we would have played it. So yeah, they have a little CG trailer where they talk about there's like the two sisters, Even and Odd. One has 2 buttons, one has 3 buttons, and then like Odd gets kidnapped by the Queen of Random, and so then Even has to go and rescue her sister. They show it's apparently it's like a card game where you like, when you roll the dice, you'll get different effects, and then you can play certain cards, and you have to buy the cards from like a vendor. It looks like a very charming indie game that I really can't wait to play. Like, it looks very nice, and I love the Tim Burton-y look to it. Like, it does a really good job. Or like Box Trolls, maybe, like some good Box Trolls DNA in there.
I can see that.
But yeah, it looks. I think it looks really good. I don't know. I don't know.
I think it looks great.
I don't know.
For some reason, I thought it was out for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody actually thought that this didn't look good. I don't know anybody who's like, "Oh, fuck that dice game, Patooey," and they spit on the ground. So,
I think people were creeped out by the dice because of its eye.
Oh yeah, that's coming out September 10th, which is right around the corner. So,
okay,
good stuff. Knockout City is getting a second season. Everybody can be mad that I'm not going to play Knockout City season 2. This season's theme is the movies. So like the arena is a giant like stage where like different movie sets phase in and out, and then there's like a bunch of hover cars that are like at a drive-in watching. And then there's like it's like a soda ball that kind of goes with the movie theme. That's season 2 of apparently. I mean, this is doing good enough that they're keeping it going. And that's
I
coming.
remember we were talking about that, like whether or not it was going to survive.
Yeah,
because of how many like games that were similar to it just sort of dissipated.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually kind of glad it did, because it wasn't that bad. Actually, it wasn't too bad.
It was fine, just not. I mean, like anybody listening to this podcast should know by now that's like we're not the fucking multiplayer guys. Like, which is fine. But unfortunately, that does put us at a little bit of a disadvantage, because then we had Battlefield 2042. There was a kind of interesting thing here, is they had this trailer for what they're calling Battlefield Portal, and this is going to be a new mode in Battlefield 2042 that's going to take. Let's see if I can remember. It's like Battlefield 3, Battlefield Bad Company 2, one of the World War II ones, and then like 2042, and then it's going to basically give people the ability to create their own modes. So you can mix and match the different things. So like there was one that they showed where it's like, oh, we've got one special forces team with the 2042 weapons fighting like 70 people with World War II kit, or we've got like all melee, like, or here's bomb defusal. Like, what was the one that was like 150 bomb defusal robots versus one tank?
Jeez.
So you can literally set it up so that it's not fair. Like, you can put restrictions on one side or the other, and you can use the different game modes and assets from the different games to create kind of these mashups of different types of multiplayer matches, which is kind of an interesting idea. I mean, the only thing it reminds me of is the Forge, I guess, in Halo, right, where you could really mix and match and do kind of crazy different stuff.
A lot of the big like game types that exist nowadays in Halo were created by people with that sort of thing, which is always a good time. So I'm happy that they're able to do that with more shooters, because people are really creative when it comes to making stuff like that, and so one day they'll become official. Who knows?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, as I said before, it's definitely not really like our particular brand of game, but I mean, it's not bad or anything. At least it's not a fucking battle royale. At least they're not bringing back the battle royale mode yet again. So, and then last but not least, we finally got the trailer for Dead Space, which was a bit of a letdown. I don't know. There just wasn't anything there. It was a teaser. It was a teaser.
Yeah, the announcement itself is exciting because it means, it confirmed what everybody's been saying for like, what, a month or two?
Right.
Kind of things like, oh, they're going to do it again. But the fact that it's just a small teaser and it's it's enough to make me just excited that it's happening.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like you were kind of hoping, with everybody knowing it was happening, that you would see some more stuff than the backside of Isaac and an enemy, I think, from far away.
Yeah, one of the most basic enemies in the game, and like a long shot of the Ishimura, and that's pretty much it. And it's like, well, I mean, fine and everything, but okay, for anybody who I don't know, I'm probably I'm setting fire to straw men that don't exist here, Michael. Where I'm like, anybody who's upset that I'm not more excited about this, it's like, EA has burned me before. I want to see some proof. I want to see some gameplay. I want to see something besides it. You can make any game look good in a teaser like this. It's 2 shots,
That's true.
There's very little to it. So like, you need to show me a little bit more. I mean, I like the level of detail. It does kind of look like they took Dead Space 1 and put it with a better lighting engine. But I'd like to see more actual gameplay before I get my hopes up. And I mean, I like Dead Space, but I've never just been like, yeah, fuck yeah, it's my favorite franchise of all time. Woo!
I'm curious as to whether or not it's like a full-on, remake when it comes to if they're going to make any changes, because Isaac is completely silent in the first one, but he talks like fucking crazy after that point.
Yeah.
So it's like, or would they, give him a voice in the first one again, like, or in this one? Who knows? Or is it going to be him silent the whole time? I don't know. That's what I'm more interested in than anything else, to see what they do with it.
I need to look into it because there were some developer interviews that they went through, and they did reveal some things. Like one of the things that they were very specific about was that there weren't going to be any microtransactions. Like they were not going to have any microtransactions in the game. It's going to be full on single player. They also talked about like it seems like they're setting up more hooks for like the sequels, so that like they want to add more things in the first game that like foreshadow things that would happen in the second game. And then I'm not even sure if their plan is to go, if they're just to erase the third game and write a whole new third chapter or what. But yeah, you're exactly right, where it'll be interesting to see what the fuck they actually do, because are you just remaking the first one? Are you adding to it? You know, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah, if they end up doing the third one again, there's a great what happened video for the third one, and there's a great concept of like a Shadow Isaac kind of thing, in it, and I would kind of love for them to do that, because you know, like I like that. The thing about Dead Space that I love is it's this very psychological thing that fucks with you more than it is like anything else, and that idea sounded really cool on paper that just never ended up happening.
What I want them to do is really expand on the fucking crazies, right? So like in the first one, the Ishimura crew, it's like, oh, we dug up this thing, we didn't know what it was, and then it started making everybody go crazy. But like by the third one, there's like an established religion where the end game is getting turned into a fucking bone monster, and that's what they want. That's what they're into. They're like, oh, great Lord, turn me into a bone monster. And I'm like, what? Why? It's kind of like some of the Doom stuff where you're like, why would you want this? That looks terrible. Those things don't look happy. They look horrible.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like every time the enemies are like, well, we want to be controlled by the thing. It's like,
why?
You see what happens, though. Like, why would you want any of this? But that's the whole thing about religious zealots kind of thing. They're like, this is the way. It's like, no, it's clearly not the way, but you're a crazy person, so.
Yeah. Well, speaking of crazy, the EA wasn't the only person to say stuff, because we also finally got, I do not, for the life of me, Michael, I do not understand why Tom Clancy's X-Defiant was revealed now. Ubisoft had a fucking press conference 1 month ago that was lackluster and terrible. And why did they not just announce this then? Like, why wait until now to announce their weird Tom Clancy Overwatch FPS 6-on-6 hero shooter? Like, why? That seems absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I have nothing for that, to be honest. Maybe it's, I don't know. Like, actually, I can't think of anything. Like, it doesn't make any sense to have done it. Maybe they didn't have something polished enough to show it or something. I don't know. It's the only thing that makes sense to me.
I don't know. It's really strange. And it's strange that this came out, I believe, or so close to the EA thing. I mean, I'm wondering, like, is there somebody at Ubisoft that's trying to steal EA's thunder? Okay. Like, look, y'all. Look. Can we all come to the correct conclusion that, like, Ubisoft as a company, they suck? Like, they can't have an original idea of their own. It's like, hey, Overwatch is a thing. Make an Overwatch with Tom Clancy. Hey, like, Left 4 Dead is a thing. Make a Left 4 Dead with Rainbow Six. Hey, Smash Brothers is a thing. Somebody acquire Brawlhalla. Like, they just don't seem like they have an original fucking bone in their body. Like, all of their announcements recently have just either been sequels to things that they've already created, or like a ripoff of somebody else's idea. And like, regardless, like, hey man, I love Phoenix Rising, but that's a Breath of the Wild ripoff, right? They made a Breath of the Wild ripoff. So true. Like, they're the most unoriginal fucking company I've ever seen. Like, they took some of the combat for Assassin's Creed, I feel like came from kind of some Souls DNA. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm looking at their stuff recently, and it's like, damn, dude, this is either an idea that you had a long time ago, or you're literally ripping somebody else's idea off. And this is so cynical. It's so fucking cynical. Like, I don't know if you got a chance to watch this trailer, but it is very cynical. Like, it's not quite the exact one-to-one that like that Gundam Overwatch we talked about last week was, but it's still, it's 6-on-6 with hero powers and different factions, and like, oh, here's your characters that you can put different skins on, and like you build up powers to an ultimate, and it's like, well, but that's fucking Overwatch, man. Like, come on. I don't know.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing about Ubisoft is I haven't been excited about anything Ubisoft has done in a very long time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the thing is that I mean, like, it's one thing, okay, they put out Hyperscape, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm not a battle royale guy, and they put out.
Why is it called Tom Clancy's? Like, I don't remember Tom Clancy writing something called this.
I'm glad that you asked, Michael, because it's made up of 4 factions: the Wolves from Ghost Recon, Echelon from Splinter Cell, the Outcasts and Cleaners from the Outcasts and the Cleaners from the Division. Like, now when I was showing you, I'm not playing this, but like when I show you a picture of these 4 people, do these characters look like they're from any fucking Tom Clancy game that you've ever seen in your life? Like,
maybe the one on the third, but even then, not by a lot.
They look like Apex Legends characters. Like,
well, they all do, like I said, except for the third one. The third one is the only one that could maybe be in one.
Oh, because she's got the Splinter Cell.
That's the only reason. That's literally the only reason. Everybody else, like, it looks exactly like somebody out of Apex.
It's also a really weird thing because, okay, listen, like, if you were, I mean, I guess this is kind of half Overwatch, half Warzone, or not even Warzone, but half Overwatch, half Call of Duty multiplayer. Because here's the thing is, like, you figure Ubisoft already did this. They did like a whole full-on hero shooter where it's like, oh, if they made an Overwatch clone, but it was like Sam Fisher and like the beard guy from the Division and I don't know, one of the Rabbids, or I don't know, but like if they actually went to Tom Clancy and they took like the more iconic characters and put them together and then made each one of them have powers, I feel like that might work better. But here it's like you're just picking these generic factions. I mean, who the fuck cares about the Outcasts or the Cleaners from the Division? Those were the guys that you spent the entire game killing. Right, like
that's weird.
They were sorry.
The whole thing just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it's like they wanted it to have the word Tom Clancy in the beginning because everything has to have fucking Tom Clancy's name in the beginning.
Yep.
Even though the dude's been dead for like a very long time at this point.
Yep.
So it's just like, what the fuck, guys? Like you said, if they had done that idea, if they're the actual characters, like if it was like if it was a Smash Brothers shooter, like I think that would be a very exciting thing for a lot of people. But they didn't do that, and that's just weird to me. But I don't know.
It looks like garbage. I mean, it looks like absolute fucking. It just looks like rip-off bullshit. And not only that, but like, here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be free to play, right? Like everything, because apparently Ubisoft has just decided everything's gonna be a game of service. Like, Assassin's Creed's going to be a game of service. This X-Defiant's going to be a game of service. You got Hyperscape. You got the Division's going to be a game. Division Heartland's going to be games of service. It's all going to be games of service. But the thing is, can you even trust them, Michael? Because the other thing that happened this week is the other Tom Clancy mashup game on phones is shutting down 1 year after launch. Their dumb gotcha, the thing where they had that horrible trailer that used all like the raised fist kind of BLM iconography in it.
It was a bad time.
Yeah.
Bad timing.
No, their horrible gotcha game didn't make it up. The one that fucking Yves Guillemot's kid made, it's getting shut down in October. They finished their updates. They're like, okay, we're shutting it down. It's not making enough money, which is a really bad look for a company that's asking you to buy into these services, where it's just like, oh, is the service broken? We'll just shut it down, keep your money, and then move on. Because everybody that already put money into this stupid piece of shit game, their money's now going to be gone in October. Yeah. Like, that's it. That's done. This one,
it's not going to have an offline mode, I assume. So yeah, they're just done.
This one even had characters from Hawks and End War. Remember those two?
Oh, Jesus. No one said those words in a very long time.
Yeah. Not just that, but apparently the other Ubisoft thing that happened this week is that Skull and Bones is in alpha after 8
Oh my God,
years.
seriously?
Yes. I am going to summarize this as best as I can, but there is a huge interview over at Kotaku that I think that anybody who is interested in game development should read. Apparently, this thing has been in development nightmare hell for 8 years. There's quotes in here where they're like, if this game was at EA, they would have canceled it by now. It is $120 million in the hole of development cost at this point.
God.
At this point. Yeah. It's been rebooted and restarted and retooled and refreshed apparently over the years. It's like whenever anybody new comes into to Ubisoft, they have to like see if they can get Skull and Bones out the door. Like actually one of the things that they talk about in the Kotaku article is that normally you have a game budget, right? And then like when the game launches, the number of sales of the game will determine like bonuses that come back depending on like how far over the budget the game sells when it comes to market. They literally had to waive that for this game because there's no way they will ever make back the $120 million they have already spent on this. So no one would ever work on it because they're not going to get any fucking bonuses when this shit finally comes out. Apparently,
there's just nothing. Like, this is like they only announced it 4 years ago.
2017, yeah. Apparently, this has gone from like the Caribbean to the Indian Sea to like a fictitious island. It's gone from boat combat to Rust style, like survival. All kinds of things, but I'll tell you what it is. Like, everybody should go read this because it's so fascinating. But what this is this is being made by Ubisoft Singapore. And the reason that the article and a lot of these people seem to think that it can't be canceled is because they got a deal with the government of Singapore to get tax breaks for a certain number of years as long as they employed people and put out original IPs from the studio that they opened in Singapore. And so they can't cancel this project without going into default with the government of Singapore that they agreed to do to get the tax breaks.
Oh my God.
So
that's so much worse than I thought.
It's an amazing read, y'all. I highly recommend that you read it. Everybody, like the people that talk about it, because there's so many people now over the course of the development that have left Ubisoft and are willing to talk shit about Ubisoft, where they're like, it's been mismanaged, it's been mishandled, like it's gone. Because I think it was originally announced as like a PS3 a cross-gen game, right, for PS3, PS4, because it was carrying off a Black Flag.
I don't remember. I just remember them announcing it, and everyone was like, "Ooh, it's like if you get to play the Assassin's Creed Pirate as just its own game."
Right.
And then nobody heard anything about it ever again.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really interesting, but apparently it's still being developed a little bit. So
that game's going to become the new Duke Nukem Forever. Calling it.
There's no way that if it ever comes out, it'll ever be as good as it's supposed to be. So
it'll never be as good as Duke Nukem Forever, is what you're telling me, Jeff.
Oh God. Speaking of games that aren't as good as Duke Nukem Forever, Amazon took another swipe. Amazon Games took another swipe at their MMO, The New World, and this is a little bit of a public service announcement. So the headlines on this may be a little bit. These may be some real attention grabbing headlines that aren't entirely accurate. So there's been the Amazon's New World went into beta over the weekend, and apparently there were several different people who had EVGA brand RTX 3090 video cards who said that they were on the menu screen for the game, like waiting to log in. And then, like, suddenly, all the fans on their card went to top speed. There was a pop. Their monitor turned off, and their 3090 video card is fried.
Oh, my God.
Now, here are some things I will say. First off, there's been a patch to this. And the reason that people think that this might be happening is because the frame rate in the menu screens was uncapped, and that it might have gotten into a thing where the frame rate was trying to get jacked up so fucking high that it literally just went into a loop to just tax the card to infinity until it fried itself. Now,
that's amazing.
This has only apparently been reported on EVGA brand 3090 cards. and it hasn't even been a thing across all EVGA 3090 cards. But there's even been some reports of this happening with people with their EVGA 3090 that's called the FTW3 card, not playing New World. But who the fuck wants to play the beta of some MMO with your fucking $2,000 3000 series video card if there is the slimmest chance that it's going to destroy the card that you fucking fought the scalpers and paid through the asshole to get? Like, good Amazon, this is not great. This is bad, man.
Kind of amazing, actually.
Yeah.
Because Amazon continues to show that they can go into space better than they can make video games.
Yeah. Yeah, they can make a dick ship that doesn't overheat, but they can't make a fucking no. So there was an update where Amazon basically came out and they said, this is actually interesting because they said, New World makes standard DirectX calls as provided by Windows API. We have seen no indication of widespread issues with 3090s either in the beta or during our many months of alpha testing. The New World closed beta is safe to play. In order to further reassure players, we've implemented a patch caps frames per second on the menu screen. We're grateful for the support from New World. Blah 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 blah. The other thing is that I feel like I did read some stuff about this where it was like, if you are overriding game settings with the NVIDIA apps to like uncap frame rates, which totally seems like something that a person on the PC would do,
100%.
Then like it might be. But then I honestly am going to come out here and say, this is not a good look for Amazon. This sucks a bunch of dick, especially when they're fucking cowboy hat CEO, so I can flouting around in space for stupid reasons. But like, EVGA is the only card that apparently has this problem, that has been reported to have this problem. So I think there's also some shade that needs to go over to EVGA for like, why the fuck is your highest end RTX 30 series card failing? Because it's not like there's the articles that I've seen are not saying like all the RTX, like the 3070s don't seem to be having a problem. The 3050 Ti's or whatever aren't having a problem. So I don't know. But just be careful. Be careful, guys.
Yeah.
Let's see. In other hardware news, last week we talked about the de novo on Resident Evil Village that was causing slowdown in the game, and apparently this week Capcom put out a patch to fix that, so it is now fixed. Huzzah!
Yeah, it's crazy that like they cracked it and then that's how they found out.
Yeah,
it's a bad look for Capcom. So yeah.
They also said that there's some adjustment, or there's some also support for the AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution upsampling tech, which is I believe that's the AMD version of the DLSS that NVIDIA has, that apparently should make it look even better now on the PC if you have an AMD card that supports that. So, let's see. From there, let's talk a little bit about the Steam Deck. So last week, one of the things that people noticed when they had the Steam Deck announcement was that the UI, like the whole interface that was in the stuff that they were showing, was totally different than the big picture mode. Like it was because I don't know if you've actually ever used Steam big picture mode, but it kind of sucks a whole bunch of dicks. And because it's Steam, they've never bothered to actually go in and like remake it. So apparently, one of the things that they talked about was that they're eventually going to be replacing Big Picture with what the front-end interface for the Steam Deck at some point, which is good.
Okay. That's a good move, actually.
Yeah, because Big Picture sucks. Also, we found out that Steam's servers apparently went berserko. I mean, big shock here, but apparently when the Steam Deck pre-orders went live, the people jammed in there. There was all these things where it was like, well, apparently, okay, so here's the thing. This is a real damned if you do, damned if you don't thing, because Steam apparently was trying really hard to make sure that scalpers didn't buy all these up, but then some people got kind of fucked by some of their anti-scalping things. So like if you tried to order and the site timed out and you tried to keep ordering, it would be like, nope, you've tried to access our website too many consecutive times. You are not allowed to buy this. Or like people were getting this message like, your account is too new to register for the Steam Deck from people that have had a Steam account for like fucking a decade.
Yeah, I saw the tweet. I've been there since Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
And then like some of them were some of them was this message I love. This is my favorite. Fucking Steam. I hate Steam so much. I really wish there was your purchase may have been completed, but there was a problem checking on the status of this transaction. Please check your account status page. Your purchase may, Michael, have been completed.
Oh my God.
We don't really know.
Perhaps it's Schrodinger's Steam Deck.
Yeah, but then here's the thing: is that all of this is not even a pre-order. Like once you've gone through the $5 process, apparently at the end of this, when the Steam Deck becomes available, you will get an email on a first come, first served basis, allowing you to then go actually buy the machine. This is a $5 save my place in line deposit. So this isn't even the real feeding frenzy for the Steam Deck. This is the pre-order feeding frenzy. So, yeah, it's good to see. Man, I swear, if I didn't believe in Don Cleese already, I believe in him every time I read about how hard it is to just buy something in the year 2021, where it's like, can you just buy something that you want? No, you can't buy a thing you want. What are you,
impossible?
You stupid? You can't buy a console. You can't buy a fucking Steam Deck.
Can't even buy controllers anymore, like limited edition ones. It's ridiculous.
That's really bad. We also found out this was an interesting article that came out that talked about the games that you cannot play at the moment on the Steam Deck. And here is a list, and you will notice something when I say what they are: Apex Legends, Black Desert Online, DayZ, Dead by Daylight, Destiny 2, Fall Guys, Hunt Showdown, Paladins, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, Rainbow Six Siege, and Smite. What all these games have in common, Michael?
Aren't they all on the Epic?
No, they're all just online. They're all online games. They're all multiplayer online games.
Okay. I didn't really think about that part.
Yeah,
because I didn't. Yeah, that makes sense.
So this is not to say that these games are going to be forever unavailable, but the reasoning seems to be that because the Steam Deck is running on this modified Linux Proton DB operating system, that it might not have the right like anti-cheating tech that a Windows install will be looking for in order to be able to play these games. That there's some kind of like verification to make sure that people aren't being total dick bots that can't be run because it's on a Linux distro and not on Windows. But who knows?
Okay.
Yep. And last but not least, before we take a break, I think we got this really strange story this week in other handheld news where Nintendo literally came out. Okay, so there was a rumor that the Switch OLED was a higher price. This is from a Bloomberg article. It was priced higher in order to make more money for Nintendo. That the price had been jacked up in order to make for the price for each unit to make Nintendo more profit. And Nintendo, which normally would, I mean, you wouldn't expect them to respond to such a thing, literally put out a statement that said, a news report of July 15th, 2021 claimed that the profit margin of the Nintendo Switch OLED model would increase compared to the Nintendo Switch. To ensure correct understanding amongst our investors and customers, we want to make clear that the claim is incorrect. We also want to clarify that we just announced the Nintendo Switch OLED model will launch in October of 2021 and have no plans for launching any other model at this time. This is weird. This is a little strange.
I think it's just Nintendo getting annoyed kind of thing. Because they were just like, they had to spend months of people being like, this is going to be the thing. It's going to be 4K. It's going to suck your dick. It's going to be amazing.
Yep.
And like Nintendo's just like, no, none of that's true. And they're like, it's totally true. The dude like Jim from accounting says that's totally what's going to happen. And then when it didn't, everyone like blamed Nintendo, even though they're like, we didn't say any of those things. Like all we did was like tell you that wasn't going to happen. And so they finally, I feel like this is them finally just getting, like being like, fuck you guys, like stop making shit up about us. Like it's like we're not doing this for like fuck. What the fuck is wrong with you people?
I wonder if it's like to ensure correct understanding among our investors and our customers. So I'm curious to know if this is a public statement to be like, no, we are not making any more money because of the idea that report could trickle down to Nintendo investors that then expect to see a bigger return because Nintendo should be making more profits off the OLED Switch sales. And they're like, what the fuck, board of directors? Like, I read that Bloomberg article. You're supposed to be making 20% more. I'm supposed to be making 20% more. Where the fuck is my 20%? As opposed to anything to deal with actual customers.
Well, it also helps with the customer thing because it also alleviates the fact that they're like, no, we didn't just jack up the price to fuck you over. We did it because it's a different model with different tech in it.
Yeah,
is all it comes down to. It's frustrating. Like, it has to be frustrating for Nintendo. Just to have to fucking be like, why you guys just keep saying this shit? Like, where are you getting this information from?
Just making stuff up. So.
Like, I love the Penny Arcade comic that made fun of it because it's like Gabe talking to one of the characters, like, he's gonna make you us a chocolate cake. It's gonna be amazing. He's like, oh, I made these cookies. He's like, fuck you. It's like, I never said I was gonna make cake. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah. Yep. And on that happy note, I think we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We've still got some news, but we're going to rip through it. Most of this is trailers. And yeah, so we'll see you back here in just a minute for the rest of the news. And unfortunately, Michael, we've got one really heavy story this week.
Yeah, Count Chocula died. I'm just kidding.
No. Yikes. Yeah, apparently the state of California is suing Activision Blizzard over like this like 2-year investigation of this kind of really widespread kind of just being shitty to women stuff that's going on here. I think everybody should kind of go look into this themselves and make their own. Like, Activision has come out and basically said, I don't know, Activision put out a statement that was really weird where they were, because, okay, apparently this whole thing started as an investigation into the company, and then it was like a 2-year investigation, and then Activision says that, like, you know, that the investigators never contacted them to get more information, and that they've changed the company kind of internal politics and makeup and stuff in the 2 years that this investigation has been going on. But the actual result here is that it looks like Activision and the state of California are going to court. Because it sounds like it was just kind of, goddamn. I mean, this sounds like some typical dude bro fucking office bullshit where, like, you got a bunch of dudes that are having a fucking time just doing whatever the hell they want to and being shitty and rowdy. Like, there's stuff in here that, to me, like, some of the, I don't really know how to evaluate some of the more egregious stuff in here, but, like, there's this one story about this lady that wanted to, like, take some time off and had to submit, like, a written page of, like, where all that time was going to go to their supervisor. Meanwhile, apparently people could just fucking, like, the dudes that work there could just play Call of Duty, like, without, you know, they didn't have to submit a fucking written request to be like, I'm going to spend the next 45 minutes playing Call of Duty. And to me, that just, like, it really reeks of some of the bad corporate culture that I have been exposed to. I mean, I've never been in this kind of terrible environment, but I have been in places where it seems like there's a certain degree of, like, we're just fucking doing our thing. Like, there's this whole thing in this about cubicle crawls where people would get drunk and, like, crawl under people's cubicles while they were working, and then, like, they would grab onto women and stuff, and I'm just like, ugh, that sounds fucking horrible. Like,
the thing is, like, every time I read a new description about it, the most fucking insane it sounds. Like, it sounds like the kind of thing that, like, if I saw it even for a second, I'd be like, I'm gonna burn this place to the fucking ground.
Yeah,
kind of thing. It's just like, this is just beyond fucked. Like, it's just everything within, like, every part of the reports that have been coming out are so over the top fucking insane
Yeah.
that which is insane because I'm not even surprised because it just shows it goes to show you that Activision Blizzard is just a terrible fucking company because these people haven't cared about anything except money for a very long time.
Yeah.
To the point where even even studios that were making things that were not Call of Duty related are now forced to make Call of Duty related things because that's how brotastic fucking Activision has become.
Yeah.
That they've gone they're full into the brotastic part to the point where even their games are brotastic. So it's just like, what the fuck? Like, no, it shows how little these people care about people in general, and it frustrates me to no end.
It's funny because a lot of if you read through the individual stuff that's happened here, I think that a lot of it kind of lines up with some of the stuff that we've heard from like Ubisoft, where it's been, this kind of culture of like these dudes that are at the top of the food chain that can kind of just do whatever the fuck they want, that kind of treat the company like their own personal playground. And I don't know, like having worked for some big companies in the past, I don't think I was never in anything like this, but I do know that there's some, at least back when I did, I mean, like, I'm fucking 20 years out of date, man. Like I don't know what's going on right now, but like I feel like when I worked at Microsoft, and it was like, oh, we shipped the product, so we're gonna have this big party in the lobby, and everybody's gonna get drunk, and everybody's gonna be like fucking slapping each other on the back, and doing stuff, and the sort of thing that I feel like when you work at a certain style of cheap ass buttoned up corporate company, like. When I worked at Microsoft, the first Friday that I worked there, the guy that was training me came in and he just handed me a beer at like 2:00 in the afternoon. And I was like, what? And he was like, it's Friday, man. We have beer and cookies on Friday. Here's a beer. There's free beers are in the break room. And I'm just like, oh, well, that seems like a really bad idea because I came from a call center where it was like, you do your fucking job and then you fucking go home. That there isn't this like being part of a weird corporate culture thing. And I've never gotten that, but I feel like I've seen it and I've heard about it, and I could see it being this thing where a small company that gets bigger and bigger and bigger, where you're used to having a very casual like relationship with the small company of people. If Rage Select got really big, I wouldn't make everybody go to the break room once a day, put their hand on their crotch and be like, we all follow Dogacles. Dogacles is the best. But I could see how some dude bro that came into gajillions of dollars could end up with a situation where shit like that happened because of the weird corporate culture that happens in some places. And I fucking hate that shit. Like, I think you just go in, do your job, and go home.
That's the thing, is that a lot of tech anythings, like just tech companies in general, have devolved into dude bro, like fraternity college type mindsets.
Yeah.
For some reason, like that's the thing about Silicon Valley itself, is that people are saying it's tough for women in there, it's tough for women entering the gaming industry, it's tough for women entering fucking any office because of that sort of thing. Because there's like, for some reason, there's like cliques and shit in these places, and it's just like, guys, it's fucking work. Like, why do you people keep devolving into this? And I don't know, it's a little frustrating. Like, even every office job I've had has had people that for some reason considered themselves the cool people,
right,
of the office, and it's just like, guys, it's just like, what? Like, you do the same thing that we do. Like, nothing is cool about it.
Like, hey man, we're gonna go.
This is weird.
We're gonna go to the strip club at lunch. You want to come? And it's like, it's fucking 12:30 on a Wednesday. No, I don't want to go to the strip club. No, we're gonna go have some beers at lunch. And I'm like, I don't want to get drunk. I'm here to fix computers, not like fucking party down. Like, all right. So. Yeah, I don't know.
To Brian's brother, and he has a lot of crazy fucking stories like that. That was just like, fuck, dude.
I don't. Yeah, I recommend everybody go read this stuff because I don't know. It'll be interesting because Activision appears to. So the interesting thing about all of this is that this is going to go to court, right? And when a thing goes to court, as we found out with like Apple and Epic, we get to find out stuff, right? You can't keep everything a secret in court. So,
oh hell no, this is gonna be such a huge fucking like clusterfuck for Activision. It's gonna be a PR. It's already a PR disaster, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's going to be that much worse because they can't hide any of these things. Because there's going to be a bunch of stuff discussed that's going to make people basically just vomit.
Yeah. Yep. It sucks. It sucks real bad. I tell you what else sucks. This is much lower down on the suck scale. Way further down on the sucking scale. This week, there was a really strange thing where PUBG, the mobile version of PUBG, put out this skin, this kind of like cyber skin for the game that is called the Hypnospace Diva set, and it kind of caught the attention of the guy that made Jay Tholen, who made the game Hypnospace Outlaw, because this is very kind of purple and gold set, which kind of looks it's kind of got some similarities to the kind of color palette and overall kind of retro Lawnmower Man stuff that was part of the Hypnospace Outlaw iconography. And it's interesting because the PUBG hasn't said anything, but like this guy's like, I really wish they would just change the name so people don't think that like I'm in any way involved with this, because this is also part of the PUBG mobile. It's part of the mobile game, which requires you to spin a wheel to get like something. There's some mechanic about spinning a wheel to get these skins, and apparently it costs like $10 of in-game currency to spin this wheel each time, and then like each piece of this is a different reward. And so somebody did the math on it. It was like like $100 or it's ridiculous. Like the amount of money that it would cost to get all of this is kind of ridiculous. And I'm also kind of amazed when I read this that PUBG Mobile has the gall to charge you $10 a spin on the wheel of microtransactions. So
PUBG in general has not been like favorably. They're looked at favorably as time has gone on. Like it started off as the big darling, but no one fucking gives a shit about that thing anymore. So if you're playing that and they're charging you that much money for it, you've done that to yourselves.
Yeah. All right. I tell you what. Let's get some good news. Here's some good news. Mike, are you ready for some good news?
Sure.
Boom. All right. So if you have a PlayStation 5 and you install the Apple TV application and open it on the PlayStation 5, you can get 6 months of Apple TV absolutely free, just hooked to your account. No muss, no fuss, no coconuts.
Oh, wow.
This is great. It was actually funny because I signed up for Apple TV last year, and apparently it was that 1 year free, right? But then I signed into the PlayStation Network, and it gave me an additional 6 months on top of the 1 year that I was already working on. So apparently it's going to be 18 months before I even have to pay for Apple TV.
I'm actually really glad that Apple's been really generous with their stuff, because there's good stuff on Apple TV. Like Ted Lasso shows up on that headline. Mythic Quest, Central Park is really good. And there's a few other things that are on there that I've heard good things about. And like, because I remember when they first announced it, people were like, Apple Plus, that's stupid. It's not really going to be any of that shit's going to be worth it. It's like, no, it turns out a lot of stuff on there is people really, really like.
Michael, why do I have an ad on this webpage for like a T-shirt with the fucking Iron Cross and a German flag? I don't. What internet? What do you think I want? I don't want that. I don't wear. Weird. That's weird.
It's because we're talking about Dude Bros.
It's talking about so, yeah. And my computer was like, "Oh, Dude Bros, here, check out this rebel hat, this distressed, fucking weird German army shirt or whatever the hell this thing is."
It's really weird. Yeah, I didn't really think about it until you said that. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, everybody should go watch Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso's gentle and amazing, and it's great. And I rewatched the first season, and it's absolutely fantastic. And if you got a PlayStation 5, there's no reason not to do this. It did take a little weird. Like I had to log into my Apple TV account, and then I had to like log into my Apple TV account and redo I didn't even have to redo it. I just had to verify my like purchase information, because it technically has to like quote purchase like the 6 months.
Oh,
like
the 6 months.
You're signing up for a like it's 6 months for free, and then you rebill after that. So yeah, what the fuck is this store? I thought these were like PUBG things, but apparently this store just sells like dirty shit. It sells like dirty Ubisoft game character clothing and fucking Nazi T-shirts. What do you think I want, internet? This is
I'm not even gonna say the name of it because people are gonna search for it. So I'm just gonna leave it alone.
fucking weird. I don't know what the internet thinks. So, watch Ted Lasso. Don't buy weird, fucked up internet shirts. Is that's what I'm saying. We also got some new information about Netflix. Apparently, Netflix is going to be their whole Netflix gaming thing is going to be starting with mobile games. And it's going to be no additional charges, like just baked into your membership, and then you get sign in your Netflix account and get some mobile stuff, which isn't a bad place to start. Like shitty mobile games are everywhere, right? So
Plus, you don't have to do a lot of manpower or even server power for something like that.
Yeah. But then also this week we had a thing where people were data mining data mining kind of the Netflix app, and they found references to a DualSense controller and Ghost of Tsushima.
That's interesting.
Which is a little strange. That's kind of all we got. But that in and of itself is a bit odd because, I mean, what does it mean? Is Ghost of Tsushima going to be on my phone, on my Netflix app on my phone? Is that what?
Perhaps.
Is that what it means? Yeah, who knows? We'll find out. Let's see. From there, speaking of Ghost of Tsushima, we got a full trailer for the Iki Island expansion that's coming with the director's cut, which was pretty cool. I mean, did you watch this one, Michael, by any chance?
No, I didn't get a chance. I meant to, but I never did.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it looks like you're going to get washed up on this island and get everything taken away from you. So it looks like it's going to be a kind of a limited DLC, right? Where all of your we've taken all of your tools, samurai or ghost or whatever, and kick you down the well, and then. But it all looks super good. Like it all looks super good.
I'm very excited.
Can't wait to play it. I tell you what else is super good. Apparently, Ghost of Tsushima is going to let you pet more animals.
Oh yeah,
so
I'm very happy with that.
In addition to petting the foxes, apparently now you can pet cats, you can pet deers, you can pet monkeys.
That's interesting.
So yeah, you could pet more. Like Sucker Punch was like, man, they really liked it when we let them pet that fox. Like, okay, all right. Cindy, go spend your next week, like, make a pet animation for all the fucking things in this game. They want to pet a monkey? Let them pet the monkey. Let them pet the monkey and then see what happens.
That's the thing about modern games is that people want to pet animals.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see. In other trailers, we got our newest trailer for the 7 Deadly Sins expansion for Hitman 3, a.k.a. the first time that IO Interactive has ever disappointed me. I have not. I tried playing these, and I just do not like them very much. This one's interesting as it takes place in the Colorado or in the Berlin level, which is a big rave, but it looks like it's been retooled to be like a ballroom thing. This is the Lust expansion, which comes with a red suit, like all the rest of them, and then it comes with like a silent crossbow that you can use. I might check this one out. Like, I looked, the last one was Sloth, and like, if you had like a stamina bar that if you moved around or did too many things, like it started to just kill you. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
That's really weird. Yeah.
One of the cool things though about this one is apparently is also going to have in addition to the Knives Out level, the Dartmoor level, where it's going to be the Dartmoor Garden Show that'll have like these different garden parties going on that's going to randomize your target every time you play it, which is great. Which I'm a big fan of.
Cool.
Yeah. We got a trailer for some free DLC for Michael and I's favorite game of 2021, Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2.
That game was a lot of fun.
Which is getting a new... I like it because they're like, it's a brand new area. And I'm like, it's another dusty area with like some ruins on it, guys. Like, oh, I already played that. I've only played like half of level 1 of this game. So like, let's not get too high up on our horse here. But this game... Everybody should go check out Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2. If you like Sniper Elite, you maybe want to do like Sniper Elite meets like Ghost Recon or something like that. Like, this is kind of that. So
it really is, and it's a lot of fun from what we played.
Yeah. We got into that whole thing at the end where I couldn't finish it, but apparently this is all free and it's out now. So if you own Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2, you can get some new content. 4 new contracts, a new area, a few new things, just for free. We also got a trailer for the Death's Gambit Afterlife, which is I didn't actually realize what this was, but apparently the developers, I don't know if anybody remembers Death's Gambit, but it's kind of a Metroidvania meets Dark Souls, and it's not blasphemous. It's not the one with the guy with the giant pointy hat.
Yeah.
This game is getting a huge update. Like, they're going back in and redoing like the levels in the game. Like, they're adding like double jumps and rolls and like new tech trees and the ability to get stuff faster. In fact, like if you log into the game with a previous save game, you literally have to go beat the game, because the only way to get to the end of the game is you have to go fight some new bosses to get powers that weren't in the game before. So they're really overhauling the shit out of this. They're changing just like individual things in the game. And apparently this is going to be coming to the Switch version first, and then a month after the PC version, and then a month after that, all of them, because they literally want to like release it on the Switch, get feedback, and then work on it before it comes to the PC, and then after that work on it and then bring it to the PS4. So which is pretty cool. We got a release date trailer for I Expect You to Die 2, one of my favorite VR games of all time. And this is interesting because Michael, I assume that you didn't get a chance to watch this one, but this is like this is the title sequence to like a James Bond movie. Like this, you can't hear it because I got everything muted, but there's like a guy singing the theme song of I Expect You to Die while you're like sitting in this audience while like you're watching these different scenes play out while the credits and everything run, and it's kind of amazing. And I think I'm
really glad that they made more of that, because that was one of those games that was like a really creative use of VR.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, you want to, like, you're a spy and you have to survive essentially the James Bond traps, and I think that's really cool.
Yep. It's called I Expect You to Die 2, The Spy and the Liar. Oh, making stuff full screen here. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And it also has a what is it? It had a, I don't know. It's coming soon. We also had the official Guilty Gear Strive Gold Lewis Dickinson trailer. One of the first DLC characters from the first Fighters pack. And this guy is a super fat. He's the, what is he? He's like the secretary, the U.S. Secretary of Defense. And he's a big fat Santa Claus that carries around a coffin that has like Area 51 written on it, and apparently has an alien inside of it that does like some of his attacks, where like a blue arm will come out and attack people. And this is so ridiculous. It's so silly, and it's so Guilty Gear. I kind of wish that I was more into Guilty Gear, but I'm just not.
I kind of wish I was a little more into it than I or at least more. I wish I was into it the way I was in high school.
Yeah,
kind of thing. It's just, it's one of those game series that I don't know anyone who plays it in any shape, way, or form in a long time.
Yeah, so
I just never bother getting it.
Yeah. Let's see, and those are our trailers. Took most of it on the EA. We have a few other things here. 2K has launched a new XCOM game, which is a gachapon phone game, Michael, that doesn't really have anything to do with XCOM. So XCOM Legends came out. This is mostly a public service announcement that people are on their phone looking through the App Store, and they're like, oh, fuck, XCOM. It's not XCOM. Actually, I think they released most of the XCOM games on phones.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But this one is like a very much a like, oh, get the new operators, and then we're gonna do like the actual game board is just like a bunch of our guys lined up, and there's a bunch of other guys on the other side, and they're gonna do their little auto battle fight. You're gonna tap your thing, and
it's not that interesting looking.
Yeah, it looks really silly. So don't get that. Let's see. In other mobile game news, the Final Fantasy Pixel remaster. They came out with some. I kind of fucking hate this. Like they came out.
It's really stupid.
Yeah. Square came out and they were like, well, we might bring this game to we might bring these remasters of the original Final Fantasy games to consoles if there's enough demand. And it's like, quit. fuck you. Like, there is demand. You know there's demand. It's Final fucking Fantasy. Like, you know that people want to play it. Like,
who wants to play Final Fantasy on their PC? Like, really, honestly, like it's really dumb. Like, just minimum put them on the Switch. Like, minimum,
right?
So people could like take these with them.
Right.
Like, these are like turn-based RPGs that people would love to do that with, and you're just like, nah, it's gonna be on PC because fuck you.
Yeah,
like,
PC and cell phones, and it's like. Look, I mean, I get why you would put this on a cell phone, right? Final Fantasy would work on a cell phone, and I can kind of understand maybe a little bit on the PC, but like, you already know there's going to be people who want to play these, and like, the consoles are PCs. It's not like you have to do a lot of porting work, assholes. Like, if you've got
leaving money on the table, it's so dumb.
Fucking Square Enix, man. So I don't know what that means. Like, what does it mean? What does it mean when they're like, oh, if there's enough demand, we'll put them on the consoles? What does that translate into? Like, sales on cell phones or like posts on Twitter? Tell me what button you need me to press for me to play these games on my Switch, and I will press that button, Square. Quit making.
I just want to give you my money.
Yeah. I just want to play old Final Fantasy games. Is that really so goddamn hard? I don't want to play Riders Republic, but that has also been delayed by a month. So Riders Republic
that was the thing.
Yeah, it got delayed from September 2nd to October 28th to give them a little bit more time to fine-tune stuff. I mean, okay, cool.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, shoot, you guys. Fuck. Yeah. And then we got a bunch of fun stuff this week. So apparently at San Diego Comic-Con, they're selling this Wolverine, this giant like Wolverine action figure that's like, you know, it's like based on the X-Men cartoon show, the animated series, and it's got like, you know, some different heads and some different stuff. But the box it comes in is the Wolverine meme where he's laying on the bed like looking at the picture of Scott and Jean.
I love it.
One of the heads is a frowny face. So it literally comes in a box that is the meme of sad Wolverine from the X-Men animated series, and it's kind of great. It's kind of
when you
great.
look at the frame too, it looks like, especially from other pictures, it looks like the top can have like, it looks like you can maybe pull the picture out.
Oh yeah, no, you can put your own thing in there.
Yeah, so like people were gonna have a fucking field day if you're able to do that correctly. It's a shame though that the sad face is only a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive.
Yeah.
But like everything else comes with it. I do appreciate like the stuff it does come with because it shows the claws from the intro where he does like the shine,
the little lightning
sort of thing.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that's really cool, and I really love the fact that that's the fucking box so much.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, if you weren't able to get the SDCC one, right, you could just take the regular one and make it draw on a slightly frownier frown. But yeah. This is pretty cool. Apparently, they also made the derpy SpongeBob at some point. The one with the meme with the uppercase, lowercase letters.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that one frame of animation. Let's see, another throwback news. We also found out that there's this company out there that's been working to restore not the live action Mario movie, but this movie that came out in Japan only that was called, it was 1986, and it was The Great Mission to Save Princess Peach. This is like an animated Super Mario Brothers movie. And there's these guys. I wasn't really able to entirely understand who Carnival is, but they've literally been going back in and like they got the original film print and they're like remastered it in 4K and it looks really nice, whereas opposed to previously there was just this really blurry like transfer of it. They're apparently,
it was like on VHS or something.
Yeah,
that was the only thing.
So they're apparently like passing this project off. It's apparently not entirely done. One of the big things is that the 4K version doesn't have subtitles in it yet, so they're passing it off. But like, yeah, it's a super crisp, super sharp version. Which also, were you on when we had that story about that guy that spent like the last 2 years like remastering the actual live action Super Mario Brothers movie? It's like
I don't remember if I was or not. I remember sharing it because the guy had found a bunch of deleted scenes on like a VHS or something.
Yeah, or like from the trailer.
To, like, make a Snyder cut out of it, essentially.
Yeah. People really love the old fucking Mario Brothers stuff. So, I don't know.
It's a big commodity, man.
Maybe someday, if this actually comes out in a fully subtitled, usable format, I could do like a movie night or something. Because, like, for God's sake, like this thing, I bet you could probably broadcast this on Twitch. Nobody would give a shit.
I think the whole thing's on YouTube. I think that's what that one thing is there.
Yeah,
because it's nobody like it came out like years ago. And people don't even know it exists. I found out about it on accident.
Yeah,
I don't remember what I was looking at, and they were like, "Yeah, this is the Super Mario Brothers movie that happened before anything else that ever happened." I was like, "That's fucking weird."
It's very primitive. It's like super like low rent kind of primitive animation, like old school 80s low frame rate animation.
It's even before a lot of the other Mario Brothers games, so a bunch of stuff that was like established just isn't even there.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. In more Mario news, if you want to get some Mario but in paper form, I didn't know this, but apparently there's this company called the Video Game History Foundation that has started this thing where they've got a bunch of old magazines, gaming magazines, like Nintendo Powers and EGMs and PlayStation magazines and like Game Pros and stuff. But what it is it's a black package subscription service where you get you pay $15 a month and they send you one magazine a month, and it's a random magazine. It's like a random and the thing is that these are not like reprints. These are the original magazines, but they were like overstocked that this company has managed to get. Like they kept, they're keeping a copy for like their preservation, but then they're keeping their funds put together by giving you the ability to buy these things one at a time, but like blind. So it's like a loot box with an old copy of a gaming magazine in it. There's a tweet here from Greg Miller with an old EGM.
That's actually how I found out about it, because I had forgot about it.
Yeah,
I was on Twitter and he posted that. I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of neat. I just didn't know what it was. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know, $15 a month. I don't know. That's the sort of money that you could forget about, right? That you could sign up for a thing and then be like, oh yeah, I do pay for that, don't I?
It really just depends on how much you want something like that. When I was young, I had this giant box of old Nintendo Powers that I wish I still had, because some of them could have been worth something. And the only reason I don't is because my parents wouldn't let me put it in the storage room that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just got destroyed by the weather because we had to leave them outside, and we didn't have a way of essentially preserving them from that point on. So
yeah. I had a Nintendo Power subscription from the time it came out for a long time, and I pulled the little pull-out poster out of every single one of those bad boys, and I put them up on my wall with that horrible 90s sticky tack that was like, doesn't leave any residue. It does if you leave it up for 3 years straight. So my whole childhood bedroom walls were just covered with those vertical Nintendo Power posters, and then I think at some point I was just like, yeah, throw them all away. Like I don't want to haul them around with me. Like I'm not gonna pull them out. Like all I need to do, Michael, is look at the cover of like Nintendo. I could just go to Google image search and do a search for Nintendo Power. Oh, that's not the right one.
you just typed in images.com.
Yeah. I can go to images.google.com and type in Nintendo Power, and I can just like, I remember this one. I remember the horrible first Super Mario Brothers 2 one. Where's the Castlevania one that scared all the kids? There it is.
That one. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Holding fucking Dracula's severed head. Yep. That was like the
Simon's Quest 2. Yeah,
it was
Simon's Quest.
That was like a second issue. But yeah, I remember there's Track and Field. And a lot of these are newer than the ones before I stopped. I remember this clay-mated Super Mario Brothers 3 one. But like I had a subscription to Game Pro as well, and I don't give a shit about Game Pro. Or I picked the occasional EGM, but I don't remember. I'm not like, oh man, I wish I had my old EGMs back. Like, no, not really. I like the old ones where they literally were building these little models for like Mega Man, or there used to be
some amazing covers because of it.
Weird illustrations. Like here's this Mega Man 3. Very weird. But yeah, I'd rather just look at them on the internet than have to like every time I move have to carry around a fucking 80-pound box of Nintendo Powers.
That's the thing. They're like, you can get old magazines. I'm like, why?
Yeah. Then I have to throw them away.
It's like nostalgia for like maybe 10 minutes. You're like, I remember magazines, and then just throw it away. Yeah.
Yeah. That Metroid one, that was pretty hot. It's Metroid on the Game Boy, Metroid 2.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Oh, I remember that one. I remember that Batman one. Sorry. This is what I should be doing.
I remember that one too, yeah.
Last but not least, we had... this is a really interesting story. So apparently, like earlier this year, Malaysian authorities did raids. This is more and more a thing. They did raids around the airport, and they took these crypto mining. They were taking out these crypto mining places that are literally. This is such a thing apparently in Asia where they siphon power off the grid to run these crypto farms. So this week, apparently, as just kind of like a big dick flex, the Malaysian authorities put out a video of them just like running a fucking steamroller over the systems that they took from this Bitcoin mining operation, just crushing them, just destroying them like with a giant steamroller, which I don't know, man. I'm kind of on the side of like, this is kind of wasteful. Those are computers. I mean, they could probably be used for something better than just like a middle finger to crypto miners.
It could be used for something, but that also looks like a lot of fun.
It does. I mean, like, I don't know. Part of me wonders, is this like, are we now at a point where crypto miners need to be taught a lesson by having their toys taken away and destroyed? Because apparently there have been like things where people have been siphoning power off the grid and then like overrunning computers and starting fires in places like mining crypto, and it's just like, what is
apparently they had to change a bunch of laws and from some of it, so people have actually started leaving I think parts of China to try to do it in their surrounding areas because they're not like, yeah, it's a whole thing. Like crypto mining is a fucking clusterfuck, and it's probably the worst thing that happened to PC gamers in a long time.
Good Lord Almighty. Good Lord Almighty. All right, well, let's tell you what. We got time. Hey man, I've been doing good.
We got hella time.
I've been doing good. We got questions. You got questions. We got answers. Let me just see if I can get. Man, I get so much dumb shit in my mail at rageselect.com is the email address that you should send in your questions to. Let's see. Okay, so we're all the way up to the last time I asked for questions. Okay. So we're going to answer some older questions. Lou writes in and says, Dear Jeff and Michael, when Skyrim came out, I was a young partying college kid with no responsibilities. Now I'm a 32-year-old man with a wife, kids, and mortgage. Point being, do you find video game companies are taking way too long to develop sequels to successful games? This is going to be a whole different question. I honestly don't see Elder Scrolls 6 coming out until 2025-ish at the earliest. Thanks. Love the show. And that's from Lou. So, Michael, are video game companies taking too long to put out the sequels to the games that we want sequels to?
Somewhat. I don't know. It varies is the thing. Because there's some places are really good about it. But some of them are just like ridiculous when it comes. Like the Elder Scrolls is a great example because they've re-released Skyrim all the time for like a decade,
so many times,
something like that.
It's on Alexa, for God's sake. It's on the fucking Alexa. So
I remember laughing because they came out with like a manga story, and I'm like, they ported it to manga kind of thing. And it's just like because it's just fucking Skyrim is on everything, and so like that's a great example of like them taking fucking forever. And even the time frame between Borderlands 2 and 3 is a real long one. There's some games that we've gotten lucky on, like the Wolfenstein games, where they consistently made a bunch of sequels right away. But there's plenty, like Crash 4 is a good example of a sequel that is kind of just like way after the fact. I don't know. Yeah, it seems to vary. I don't know. I get what he means though, because there's plenty of games that I wish had a sequel, and they never either A, have never announced it, or B, they announced it like a decade later.
Wow, that's amazing. I just went and looked it up, and so I wanted to see like what was the time between Elder Scrolls 4 and Elder Scrolls 5, and Elder Scrolls 4 came out in 2006, and Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim came out in 2011. That game is 10 years old. That game is like 10 years old, which means that like it's now been double the time from between 4 and 5, between 5 and now, not even 6, but between 5 and now. I don't know. It's weird because So I don't know. I used to get very. I think that things were harder for me when I was less of a game slut. When I was just like, oh man, Dark Souls, I love it. When is Dark Souls 2 going to come out? And it's like, you know what? There are a lot of things to play, and like I'm willing to just take them all as they come, right? This week we had Chris Tales and Death's Door, and Akiba's Trip was re-released this week. That Last Stop game is on Game Pass, I found out, but there's always a lot of games coming out. And so for me, I am a little bit more sanguine on this question because, I agree that I think that in a lot of ways, Bethesda, it's like, God damn it, dude. Like, the money is right there. Like, just make the game and it'll sell like crazy. But no, we got to make Fallout 76. And then we've got to make fucking, what's the space one that they're making? Starbound, is that Starfield? Yeah, Garfield in space.
You have to find lasagna in space. That's the plot.
So then they got to make that one, and then it's like, okay, because you know what, the turnaround between Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 wasn't nearly as long as this, right?
Well, there was New Vegas in the middle of that too,
right? And then 76 after, so.
Well, like I said, it's tricky when it comes to it because there's some games that they didn't get sequels for like way out. Like the time frame between Devil May Cry 4 and Devil May Cry 5 is pretty long, even though the DMC was directly in the middle of it, kind of thing.
But we don't count DMC.
No, we don't.
Fist shake.
We don't count that nonsense. I still plan on playing it again just to see how I feel about it, but I haven't gotten around to it.
Someday, Michael, I'm going to get that stack of Chili's gift cards, and I'm going to offer you one Chili's gift card for every sequential episode of DMC that you play with me at some point. We're going to do
awful, though.
a full DMC, and you're going to be rolling in that Chili's money, man. Like, just, woo, Chili's for days.
That sounds awful. Yeah, I actually do. Like I said, I do plan on playing that eventually, but I haven't gotten around to it. But yeah, there's a lot of games that like the time frame between sequels was massive, and there's some that were really short. Like all the Call of Duties have not had an issue with that,
right?
But every like single player game had some of it. Like the Uncharted games didn't have too much of a time frame in between. Same with you got Red Dead Redemption to Red Dead Redemption 2. That was a pretty long time frame.
Yeah,
and now we're stuck between Grand Theft Auto 5 and maybe a Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the thing is, I guess Lou. Here's the thing that I might posit to you is that a lot of times in a successful company, the same team that makes like your favorite game. Then they don't want to just turn around as soon as the development of that game is done and immediately start making the next one of those because it'll burn a studio down. Or you'll get a studio who has made several successful games where it's like, I could care less about Elder Scrolls. I would like that Starfield game, right? So it's like, I don't care when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out because I'm not the biggest Elder Scrolls fan in the world. I mean, I like Skyrim. Who fucking doesn't like Skyrim? But like, I'm more interested in the sci-fi version of that universe. So you get companies that are making like, Tango Softworks is making that Ghostwire Tokyo right now. I'm sure there are a lot of people who would much rather them be making another Evil Within, right? Making Evil Within 3. Yeah. But then you get into the situation of like, if you just have Naughty Dog crank out Uncharted game after Uncharted game after Uncharted game, eventually they're going to get burned out, and they're going to lose talent, right? Because if they're just people there doing the same thing over and over and over again, eventually you're going to lose people to other companies. You're going to lose talent. They're going to go away, and then the product that comes out is going to be less and less effective, and then that studio will get dissolved. So in some ways, I kind of like it that you see companies bounce between different products because it means that they get a chance to kind of flex their creative skills. Like to this day, Naughty Dog is a great example of a company that I wish got to do something besides make Uncharted and Last of Us, because the last time that Naughty Dog was allowed to do something besides what they were doing, we got Uncharted, and then the last time that they were able to make something besides Uncharted, it was The Last of Us. So I want them to go and like do their next big thing.
Wait, like that timeline doesn't make any sense.
I'm sorry, I should have said like when they were allowed to stop
Last
making
of Us and then Uncharted and then Jack and Daxter, and then crashes the.
Yeah, when they were allowed to do something new in the PlayStation 3 generation, we got Uncharted, and when they were allowed to stop making Uncharted, they made The Last of Us. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You said it the opposite is what I'm talking. Never mind.
So yeah, I want companies to be able to make a lot of different things, mostly because also, I mean, I don't know. The thing is that. And I'm at a point in my life where I just want, I want my new favorite franchise, right? Like, I want Hitman 2016, where I'm just like, holy shit, I was never into Hitman all that much, and now I fucking love Hitman, right? Or Kerbal Space Program, or I want to try different types of games. I don't want people just making sequels to the same thing. Like, in some cases, I'm even like that with, I wish that. I tell you where it breaks down. I mean, there's always an example of me saying something definitive, and then there's totally an example of me going back on that. Is like, I'm really happy that Metroid Dread is happening because I've wanted just a new fucking side-scrolling Metroid game for years, and they've just been making Prime and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's usually a time frame thing. Is whenever we actually do want a sequel, like a legit sequel.
Yeah,
Metroid Prime. The in between with Metroid Prime from Metroid, which Metroid would have been? One of the Game Boy Advance ones?
Fusion was the last
Fusion.
one. Yeah, Fusion and Prime were simultaneous.
Yeah, between Fusion and now, it was all shooter Metroid games, whether it was the Prime games or even that one Prime mission or whatever. I don't even remember what it's called. The one with the 4 guys in it.
Federation Force.
Federation Force. Yeah. So we
let's
weren't
not
really
forget
a lot of
Other M.
Yes, yeah, Other M as well. Oof, that was a weird one. But we also got the remake of Part 2. So that was somewhat nice, but even then, but people wanted another console one, which was the main thing. And how but sometimes that doesn't always work out. I bring up Bionic Commando a lot. Because I like Bionic Commando 1 a lot. And then Rearmed was really good, but it was a remake of Part 1. And they're like, here's the sequel to Bionic Commando. And it was fucking not very good, at all. Like, they did a What Happened for it not that long ago. That explains so much when it comes to that thing. And I hate that Spencer design has consistently been used since then.
Yeah.
It's a terrible fucking design. You should not make a white guy have dreads. It's a bad idea.
And the bionic arm looks stupid as fuck. The redesigned bionic arm with his fucking wife in it looks so dumb. It looks terrible, and it's garbage. So
they've used it in everything, and yeah, it's frustrating. But so yeah, sometimes the monkey paw wish for a sequel to something you love doesn't work out so well.
Yeah. Let's see. Jonathan writes in and says, hello, Jeff and Michael. Like most people, I find myself drawn to certain games while other games aren't appealing, either from a game mechanic or art style. For example, Moonlighter, the dungeon crawling and roguelite elements appeal to me. However, the aspect of selling items and running the shop didn't. After playing, I found the shop elements to be quite enjoyable. Are there any games that didn't appeal to you at first that afterwards you enjoyed? Another question, knowing your taste and enjoying your enthusiasm, Souls-like games. Imitation being the highest form of flattery. There's a ton of them. Some are 2D and some claim to be Souls-like but lack the same feeling. I haven't found one yet that quite scratches the same itch as Dark Souls, though, especially on the Nintendo Switch. Any recommendations that you found? Thanks for all the fun. That's from Jonathan. As far as the Souls-like goes, Neo 2 has been the only one that I felt like really got it. People like Lords of the Fallen and The Surge, but I don't. I don't think that Salt and Sanctuary worked very well. Dead Cells maybe has a little bit of DNA from Souls, but as far as like a full-on Souls game, it's hard. Nobody's managed to kind of get it the same way that just the straight-up From Software games are, so I don't really know how much I can suggest. I don't know. Let's see if there's something that I'm forgetting here.
The Surge one you like. The Surge 2 you liked a lot.
I like Surge 2, but then I kind of petered off on it. So, Neo 2 I beat. I beat Neo 2. I played all the way to the end and beat it. A lot of people really like Hollow Knight. It never entirely clicked with me, but that's one. A lot of people liked Hollow Knight. Death Gambit, Hellpoint, blah blah blah. These are kind of bad. I guess Jedi Fallen Order is on that list. I don't really count that. It's got some DNA, but it's not really all that great. Mortal Shell. I liked Mortal Shell, but again, these aren't available on the Switch. So,
Well, I don't think the Jedi one is either.
no.
But the games that I thought I wasn't really gonna like, I definitely would have to say the Mario Rabbids, because I'm not a fan of those XCOM type games. But I loved that Mario game, the Mario Rabbids game. I loved it, and so I'm actually really looking forward to the sequel because of it. It made me consider the idea of playing maybe an actual XCOM game, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to deal with that.
Right.
Because I know Nintendo is more lenient on that sort of thing, and I had more fun with it that way. So that's something I might. I know I tried doing some RTS stuff, but I could never get into it. I still haven't, but it's a bad example kind of thing. But Souls-like games, Bloodborne was one of the only ones that I did get into. I didn't think I was going to like that sort of thing, but I ended up really liking it a lot. But I just never really tried to buckle down on any of the others since then. But every time I do, I still have some kind of fun with it.
By the way, looking at the list of Souls-like games on Wikipedia, I would suggest. Remember when we played that Chronos Before the Ashes? It was like that VR game. But that it was they made a non-VR version of it. That is on the Switch. Check out Chronos Before the Ashes. Check out Michael and I playing that because it's got some interesting stuff going on in it. It's kind of Soulsy, but it's not the best, but it is creative in a lot of interesting ways. Yeah, I mean, as far as the whole mechanics question goes, like, oh my God, there's been so many games. Like, I swear, the classic example for me is Minecraft. It's just not wanting to like Minecraft and then being like, oh, I get it. I get what you're doing here. Kerbal Space Program, I think, was something that it took me a long time to kind of get into. I remember, Kayla and I played Kerbal Space Program for like 2 hours for a sequential or for a Sunday stream one time, and it was garbage. But I was like, why can't I do this? All I was just going up and going down and going up and going down and going up and going down, and like I didn't understand what I was doing. The tutorials were non-existent, and I was like, fuck you, video game, I'm gonna learn how you work. I went and watched Scott Manley do a bunch of tutorials on Kerbal Space Program and learned how the math and delta V gets calculated and all that bullshit. And then I was like, yes, I'm a rocket man. I'm a rock-it man. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty agnostic about video games these days where I'm like, the main thing for me is, you know what falls into that category in a really weird way is Overwatch, because I don't like playing online competitive games. But man, there was like a year there where I just clicked with Overwatch, and just anything Overwatch related, I was into it and I was ready to go.
The first year of Overwatch was fantastic because that was the point where people weren't like overly enthusiastic is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Because after a while, I decided to try playing it again with some people I knew back in high school, and they all had these like crazy strategies and stuff, and they would get mad at me for not following their weird
meta
fucking strategies. I'm like, dude, I just want to play this fucking thing. I just want to be a cowboy who shoots people in the face. Like,
yeah,
don't be weird about this. And like, that's how every one of those games. Because I tried playing. That was one of the reasons I couldn't play Call of Duty with those guys, because they also would do that with Call of Duty. So I don't know, it's frustrating, but like that is a good example. Yeah, when Overwatch first came out, I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did when it first came out.
Yep.
Same with the first Mass Effect. I didn't expect to love Mass Effect 1, but I ended up falling in love with that game.
Yeah, it happens from time to time. I tell you what, I mean, example for me right now is I don't like going back and listening to myself, but I'm pretty sure that I was pretty harsh with Skyward Sword because of the motion controls. But then, like yesterday, Michael and I recorded a video, and I was just like, here's 30 minutes of Jeff saying why he likes Skyward Sword now. So, yeah. Let's do some Discord questions. Well, we still got a few minutes left. Let's see. Call Me Mo says, hey, Jeff and Michael, I recently finished Mass Effect again and forgot how in-depth the codex in that game was. I'm a sucker when it comes to codex/lore entries in a game, and Mass Effect is my favorite one. It just shows how much love and care it took to craft that universe. Shame they didn't do the same for the story's conclusion. My question is, do you like reading codexes/bestiary/journal entries in games? If so, what are some of your favorite? Also, are you planning on doing a sequential for Death Stranding when the director's cut is out? Thanks for all the great content, and don't let those angry Kingdom Hearts fans get to you, Jeff. You're the classiest guy on the internet, and that's from Call Me Mo. Thank you, Call Me Mo. Can you imagine a Death Stranding sequential? That sounds like the worst thing. I like that game.
Sounds like it would be frustrating, yeah.
I mean, actually, what it sounds like is in the old days when I was doing Patreon sequentials with John, a lot of times we would just get into games where we would just have people that submitted questions into the Discord comments. We would just answer the questions while we were just grinding our way through whatever game we were playing. And that would be the perfect thing for that. Like, that would be a game that would be great if you wanted to do like an AMA. You just like Twitch stream that game and then just be like, I'm just gonna chat with you guys and fucking walk around and drive a motorcycle and shit. Like,
that would be perfect for that sort of thing.
Yeah. Codexes and lore entries, Michael. What do you think?
I like them a lot, but they have to be extra stuff, not stuff that I need to understand the story, kind of thing. Because there's like, for instance, this isn't a codec thing, but I was a big fan of the Twitter feed in Spider-Man for PS4 because it lets you like read about all this stuff that's going on in the city as you're playing the game. Essentially, like it made the world feel that much more lived in.
Okay,
because there's like some weird like emotional stuff going on in that thing. Like there's like, for instance, my favorite example that in that game is that there's like a tweet from a person. They're like, hey, I've been chosen to cover the mayor's thing of giving Miles' dad like his medal thing. It's like, yeah, I'm like super excited. It's the first time I've ever covered an event or whatever. And then if anyone who's played the game knows what happens during that sequence, like you'll see a tweet later on throughout in the game where it's like that person's dad, where they're like, you know, rest in peace kind of thing. And it's like really like kind of emotional because those people like you just read a conversation between the two of them, like it's very heartful, like, you know, parent-child conversation, only for you to realize, oh, that fucking tweeter fucking died, kind of thing. And like that's an extra thing. Like it's no bearing on the story in any shape or form. But I like it because it adds that extra layer of like fucking oof to like the stakes of what's going on.
Sure.
And same with like, you know, other things that you could find in Lords of Shadow, for instance, like Castlevania Lords of Shadow. I like that because it let you see the world through the other, like through normal people's eyes, because like you'd open one up and like, because like you're an unstoppable fucking murder machine kind of thing, but you'll read like a note from a person who was just like, yeah, I jumped and I broke my fucking legs and the monsters are coming for me and I don't know what to do and I'm scared and God has fucking abandoned me, and you're like, oh fuck, kind of thing.
I don't know if this is going to how this is going to come off, but I fucking hate codex entries and bestiaries and that stuff. I hate them so much. I hate them with the fiery passion of 1,000 suns, because to me they are a way to, like, they stop you playing the game. Like, I don't want to read a big lore entry. Like, if it's like a text conversation that's part of the game, right? Like, that's cool. I hate so much when a developer puts an audio log somewhere and then you have to stand there to listen to the audio log, because it's like you've taken an interactive medium and made it non-interactive, because now I just have to just like set down my controller and listen to this fucking audio play, or like the books in Skyrim, like go to hell. I do not want to read. I don't want to turn the pages on the fucking books in Skyrim. Like, I don't know. About the most I'm willing to do is like the Resident Evil Village, like 3 pages worth of somebody writing like, day 2, the experiments are going well. We put rocket boots onto this monkey fetus and we've got the new G virus. And it's like, but I hate it. Like I especially hate it. Like I remember, I will always be salty at the fact that Halo has some really interesting lore that is 100% not in the fucking game. Like some really, really fascinating stuff that would make for a really interesting story. And yet the game is just like combat encounter 1, combat encounter 2, don't you want these like chittering little monkeys that make jokes? Don't you want to shoot them in the face instead of hearing about the fucking progenitor races and knowing showing the stakes of the AIs and like how all this is fit together. And if you don't go looking for that shit, you will never run across it in the game. And it frustrates the ever-loving shit out of me because I'm like, because Michael, because so many of these things, so much of this information could be playing in a codex entry, in a voice entry over parts of the game when you're shooting, right? Like the way that it works in BioShock, where you pick up a log and the log starts playing, and then it's like, oh, well, I've got to go kill these splicers, and that's an exciting part of the game. But while I'm doing that, I can kind of be listening in the background to this like a podcast to get more information, and so it does draw me further in, but not when I have to stop the entire game to either open a menu and read something or stand next to a tape recorder and listen to a thing. So
well, I get those. Those are the ones that I hate, but that's what I mean. Like, or at least especially with the Halo one, those are the ones that I'm like I like them, but I also hate the fact that they are things that make you understand the story better.
Yeah,
and like that's why I like the ones that are extra ones that are just straight up like, hey, this is like it's not a question that you had, but it's kind of neat to see,
right?
Kind of thing. Like those I like a lot. But if it's like, hey, this part doesn't make any sense, it's like, well, it does. If you found the extra thing behind the wall in level 4 where you had to like grenade jump to it, it's like, no, that doesn't make why
right.
would you do that? Like right. That's really annoying. But yeah, I like the ones where it's just like extra stuff, like you're like in some guy's house and you pull up a thing and he's just like, I fucking shot myself in the leg on accident yesterday when a zombie attacked me. You're like, oh, that's kind of fun.
Well, because apparently, like somebody has told me before, like in Far Cry 5, like if you listen to the radios in the houses in Far Cry 5, there's all these news reports about how like American-Chinese relations are straining and like we're on the brink of war. So if you've listened to that, then like when you get to the end of the game and the fucking nukes drop, like, oh, that makes sense. But if you don't listen to that stuff, then it just fucking comes out of nowhere. Like you're just like, what is happening here? Why is this happening? I don't get it. So, I mean, even the Mass Effect example that's there is like, I really wish that stuff had been woven more into the conversation. You know, so many things over the years are just like, oh, geez, Morden, how do the Solarians reproduce? And he's like, well, Shepard, if I can have a spore of eggs, and then the lady comes in and she shoots her, and you're like, oh, crazy. Like, or like as you're fighting, like if they were making jokes that enticed you, but the idea of bringing up a big menu and reading through page after page of encyclopedia is like, no, I am not doing that. This is not why I play video games. I play video games to play.
I just remember one of my favorites. It's in Metal Gear Solid 5 with the between Miller and the Native American dude.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the one where he's like, the Native American guy's just like, man, like, I want a good burger. And like Miller keeps trying to give him like different versions of burgers to get him to be like, do you like this? It's like, this is like the most natural fucking thing ever. And he's like, nah, it's not that good. And then he gives him, at the end, he gives him this like super fucking McDonald's preservative-ass burger. And he's like, this is my shit. And Miller's just like, really? Like, seriously?
Nice.
It's like, it didn't cost me nothing because it's so full of preservatives. This is going to be fucking great. It's just like, what the fuck's happening?
Let's see. I think we're a little over here, but I want to do one more. And I like this question. I think this is an interesting question for Michael and I. I Hate Everyone So Shut Up wrote in and said, hello, Jeff and Michael. It says, Jeff does gaming as a professional for Rage Select. And, you know, the people that are on also do stuff. Does this ever ruin your gaming as a personal thing? If it's not too personal, please, or if it's too personal, please feel free to ignore this question. That's from I Hate Everyone So Shut Up. I kind of reworded it a little bit there, but like, do you feel like ever doing Rage Select, does it ever ruin your enjoyment of gaming as a personal thing in your spare time?
No, not even close.
Yep.
Like I love playing games by myself. I do it all the time. A lot of times it's because I can play games that Jeff doesn't see me play, like Duke Nukem Forever.
Well, then you tell me about them. It's not you tell me all about them.
Which is what makes it fun, because I can tell you about what I've been up to instead of just
Michael!
like kind of thing. I could be like, hey, I just replayed all of Halo from like 1 through 5, and you're just like, but why would you do that? Just like, because of reasons.
Yeah, but then I get you over here watching me fucking watching me
Play
gargle max my way through fucking Pokemon Unite. So like, I guess we're even.
Well, that's the main thing about Rage Select is like I enjoy them more because I have seen more games. Like it's kind of the way I am with One of Us, because you expect me to be like, I don't really like movies anymore because I review them a lot. It's like, no, I like them more because my horizons keep getting more expanded because of it. Like there's plenty of games that we've played that I never would have even fucking looked at. Like if it wasn't for the fact that, we played it on Rage Select. Like that happens all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think that the people online really love to attribute when I don't like something to this, right? I've played so many games, I'm jaded, I'm burned out, I'm whatever. And you know what? I will cop to this much of that, right? Is that like when I was playing games before I was starting to do anything like this for a living, there was a certain amount of like generic FPS that I would be willing to put up with. Like, oh, here's the new, like, you remember that Syndicate game that EA made, that first-person Syndicate game that they made a few years back? I kind of liked that. I was like, I like Syndicate a lot. Like, whatever. Like, I was a little bit more willing to give trash the benefit of the doubt. But now that I play so many games, it's like, there are so many interesting games in the world. Why would you ever put up with something mediocre? Like, why would you ever put up with something that's bad or like programmed poorly or just kind of shovelware? Like, to me, it's the sort of thing where, in the gaming industry, I mean, it's not entirely this, but if you stick with me enough, like fucking a 10-course a banquet of the finest food and a McDonald's cheeseburger cost the same amount of money in the video game industry in a lot of ways. A lot of times they're both $60, right? Like whether you're getting a transcendent game that you'll play multiple times over the course of your life that like just fulfills you as a person, or just some like shitty Ubisoft garbage, like those things a lot of times cost about the same amount of money, even if it's 40 or 60, right? It's not like really good games cost $500, like, and only the rich can afford to play the best games. Like, gaming is really kind of this flat thing where you can get really good games, you can get really bad games, and they cost about the same amount of money. You can get small puzzle games, you can get phone games, you can get Switch games, you can get all these games, and the barrier to entry is within a certain amount. So for me, I'm like, why would you ever in the world put up with shittiness? Why would you ever make excuses for a game when you could try out something new? But then for me, the result of this pastime for me is that I want to see what they got, man. I want to see the best of what this fucking industry could do. I want to see new stuff. I want to see crazy stuff. I want to see artists making art, like doing something interesting and innovative and like throwing something at me that I've never fucking seen before. I want to see the game where the crow in the afterlife goes and fights the building in Death's Door that came out this week, or like, the shit that Devolver Digital puts out. Like, I don't want to just same old. I don't want a game that I could just I'm gonna just turn my brain off and play this. I want something that's engaging, and so that's what I'm always looking for. And so I feel like over the years, the main thing that's changed within me is that I'm not willing to put up with run-of-the-mill crap anymore. Like, that
happens to a lot of people when that becomes not their career per se, but like their I want to say passion, I guess. Like I think Matt, like I'm gonna bring up Matt real quick. Matt Frank used to, like, when you look at Matt before he did a bunch of stuff for One of Us and did a bunch of review stuff, or even the way he is now, like, he was very much like, I love all of the kaiju things for like all of the reasons, where now if you ask him about something, he's very critical about what it is now. Like, I bet you if I would have shown Matt, like the Matt of like 15 years ago, King of the Monsters, he would have been like, this movie's amazing and I have no issues with it whatsoever. Whereas, like, you show it to him now, he's like, well, this is my issues with it. This is, like, characters, like, all this stuff. Like, he'll have valid reasons. And it's more that you come to expect more from your love of something, and is really what he's saying.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, it's just like part of it is I know that people probably won't believe this, or maybe they will. I don't know. The thing about Rage Select is that Rage Select's a weird fucking place because for all intents and purposes, we are a failed YouTube channel, but the people that are left listening to this are fucking ride or die, and I love you all. You're all
true.
Fucking great. Like we may not have the big subscriber base, but like the trolls have mostly left. Most of the people that hate me are gone. They finally realized they couldn't like comment me until I got frustrated, and I'm just like, yeah, but at the end of the day, I may hate myself because of the mean comments, but I still get paid to play video games, right? Like the opposite is I'm gonna have to go like work. Come on, man! Like fucking come on. I'd rather.
The funniest thing about this channel is that if this was like a YouTube, if we were part of Rooster Teeth, we would have been canceled ages ago.
Oh fuck yeah, yeah. But for me, I just like I want to try this stuff out, and I want to see how it goes. Like, next this coming up week, my Microsoft Flight Simulator is getting released on the Series X, and I'm just like, all right, you know what? My PC won't run it, but I got this $500 next gen console. I got Game Pass. Let's fly some airplanes, man. Let's see how this is. Maybe I've been missing it all these years, and I'm gonna fucking take that Cessna and fly it over my house where I used to live in Austin and be like, oh, okay, I get it now. Cool. Because there's been enough times in my life where I've been poo-pooed a game, and then I played it, and I was like, oh no, I kind of get it now. But like next week we've got this coming week we've got Microsoft Flight Simulator, Neo: The World Ends With You, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles are coming out, the Forgotten City is coming out. Like there's always something interesting. The Ascent, which is the Ascent is coming out this coming week, Michael. That's that cyberpunk like Diablo style top down kind of action game with the weird like the orcs, cyberpunk orcs and shit, like kind of shadow running. There's always good stuff out there. So my thing is not necessarily I don't hate games anymore. I just hate it when games waste my fucking time or when they don't respect me. It's one of the reasons I come down so hard on like Ubisoft is because Ubisoft doesn't feel like they respect my time. They feel like they're just taking everybody else's ideas and hard work and repackaging them with like their own fucking seasoning on the top and then trying to cash in the money. And I hate that. It seems lazy and just really a shame from a company that used to be like more creative. The same I feel like with Square, right? Where they were talking about with that story last week about, well, what about Final Fantasy 10-3? And it's like, no, man. The reason that we fell in love with you guys is because you kept showing us these new worlds that were different and interesting and new. Like the reason people remember Final Fantasy VII so much is because I've never seen anything like it before when it came out. And I want you to keep doing that. Like I know it's harder the longer that time goes on, but I trust you guys to like hire people and make new stuff. And once again, show me a world where I can go like, whoa, I've never seen that before. Awesome. And how many times have people been watching Rage Select where we'll get something and like you and me are just sitting there going like, holy shit, where did this even come from? I never fucking heard about this, and this is now my new favorite game. I'm gonna play this game all the way to the end. This is awesome, amazing, fantastic. That's all I want. So
it's true. Like we were talking about the fact that it's easy now to avoid Activision Blizzard because all they do is make Call of Duty. Like,
yeah.
That's it. Like they used to be. I remember when I was young, and Activision was like, "Hey, they're the guys who make all of these things." They made like used to have this huge library of things.
Yep.
Same with even fucking besides Ubisoft. Same with a bunch of places like that.
EA,
where they're now known for things. Yeah, EA is a good example. They used to, although EA is a little better about it than the rest of them are, even now.
I mean, think about that EA show that we watched where it was like 6 games total, and like 3 of them were just multiplayer games. One of them was a remake and a sequel. There was one original game in there, and that was that fucking random that dice game. And
that's true.
So
but it's the tricky thing. It's luckily not like the way movies are per se. But it's also very similar to the way movies are in the fact that, like, all the big budget stuff tends to be very similar.
Yeah.
But all the indie stuff is really where you find some of the most exciting things you'll ever find.
Yep.
And I'm really, that's what I like gaming is because unlike movies where you always just watch it and maybe you'll see something different, but you're still just watching it. Whereas with games, you might find a whole new sort of control scheme that makes no fucking sense, but you're like, I understand this and I'm all for it.
Yep. And with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We got some questions. We got some news. We got a big old podcast. Michael, tell the people where they can find you online when you're not here.
You can find me on oneofus.net. I do a lot of reviews for movies and television, as well as finding me here.
Yep. MailRageSite.com is the email address to send in your questions. We can always use more questions. So if you've got a burning inquiry, let us know. Apparently, Michael, I don't know, man. This is 2 weeks in a row that I've managed to carve out like 30 whole minutes for questions. So like maybe I had to like work up. I had to slash more and more and more. And this week I was just like, no, we're going to do like a dozen stories and that's it. And even then it was too many. But I'm getting better. So send in your questions and we'll get them answered. And then that's it. That's the podcast. All hail King Mike, King of the Rage Slack Podcast.